All right, Noah Shia, thank you for coming on Game Changers.
Well, thank you, my brother.
Of course,
thank
bro.
You, my brother.
You are we're just talking about it, one of the EVPs at Def Jam Records.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Which is huge. You know, Def Jam is an iconic label and someone that, you know, a label that has, you know, has names not Kendrick, Kanye West, Logic.
Wish we had Kendrick.
Okay, Kendrick, if you're watching right now, you know,
we'd love to have you.
Noah Shia will look after you. Has that been something that, you know, along the way has been like a dream or goal of yours to kind of like move up within the record label, within the label industry?
You know, for me, dating back to when I was a kid, right? I can give you the quick backstory. I grew up in Maryland, outside of Washington D.C.
Yeah,
in the suburbs. You know, in the times where you know, cassette tapes and vinyl was still popping.
Yeah.
I was born in '74, so I moved into this suburb of Maryland. So I grew up, you know, in one area in Gaithersburg, which is the same place where Logic grew up. Believe it or not. Shout outs to Logic in the DMV, and his
Rapture episode, which I learned so much about him in that, and you know, learning about Maryland as well. So that's amazing, and probably like has a big reason why you guys have such a great relationship. You know, coming from
when
the
he
same
first
area.
walked in, and not to digress, but when he first walked in, and he's like, I knew he was Maryland, and I didn't know exactly where, and he told me where. No one comes from Gaithersburg, Maryland.
Yeah, I think he says that in his episode.
Like, maybe he does.
Yeah,
I saw it. I don't remember exactly every line. But no one comes from Gaithersburg. Like it. You know, we moved when I was 10 years old. I have a few years on him, so he wasn't born yet when I had moved out.
Yeah,
but it. You know, it was and is still to this day a really unique place, and I'm very happy that I was born and raised there. But literally, just no one comes out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. But there is a melting pot of diversity in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and being that you have the District of Columbia, you know, there's a heavy African American influence. There's a heavy soulful musical influence. And then you also have, you know, that alternative rock and roll music scene as well that became very, very, you know, popular and broke, you know, out of DC with groups like Black Flag and, you know, others like that. But, you know, DC and Maryland was very musical. And so growing up in Gaithersburg and then finding out the Logic was from Gaithersburg, it just, that was one of the reasons why we were able to connect and become friendly. Because again, like when he talks about West Deer Park or 355, like those are
that connection.
Those are the streets. Like my house was right off of West Deer Park, and 355 was the street perpendicular. So
crazy.
Anyway, it started there, and then I moved to a city called Potomac, a town called Potomac, and my neighbor was this kid. His name was Kobe, and he was like the premier basketball athlete.
Not Kobe. Wait, Kobe. We're not talking Kobe Bryant over here. Kobe. I was like, wait a second. I'm swearing Kobe Bryant is not from Maryland.
No, this is the Kobe before. Kobe Bryant's from Lower Merion.
Okay.
Philly area.
Yeah, Philly area.
But my Kobe, C-O-B-Y, was the first Kobe before the Kobe.
Before the Kobe Bryant that we know of.
Yeah, because Kobe's in his 30s.
Yeah.
Right. Like I have more years than Kobe.
Yeah.
And so he was the first Kobe. This kid was the baller.
Okay.
And when he was a baller, he attracted, you know, all of this, you know, this kinship with all of these athletes and these players, and then hip hop was just so relevant in our day to day.
For sure.
But it got into the suburbs of Maryland. So anyway, I grew up in Maryland from '74 to when I moved out at 18 and I went to college.
Yeah.
But you know, hip hop got to us, you know, and the music scene was pretty popping. I mean, we had great radio stations there like PGC, KYS. And then great pop stations like Wava and Q107, and just all this great music scene with DC 101. Howard Stern was birthed in Maryland on DC 101. Like he came and got his big shot. And I remember waking up in the morning in Gaithersburg at the age of like 6 or 7 and listening to Howard Stern on the radio that my mother would be listening to in her bedroom. That was his only market. Yeah. And so, you know, it just had a very rich history of radio DJs and a music scene.
Was hip hop kind of like something that really took you as like, you know, a stronghold early on, or were you, you know, in the rock scene and...
So you know, growing up, you listen to what your parents listened to.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't out consuming music, you know, from when I was young.
Yeah.
To, you know, to when I was 10, right? But then as you get older and you start working, and then you're like, you can go out and buy some music. For me, it was more of what my parents listened to. So it was they always listened to the oldies channels.
Yeah.
So anything oldies, which was from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, is what back then it was probably 40, 50, 60s.
What was being played in the home.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was listening to. And then for me personally, hip hop was what really resonated the most.
Yeah.
At an early age, and I remember, in 6th grade buying my neighbor Kobe, the King of Rock, Run DMC vinyl.
Yeah.
And as a return gift, he bought me the DOC album.
Crazy.
And so I'll be honest, and I shouldn't say that loud, but I returned the DOC album because I didn't know. I'm from Maryland. I wasn't really familiar with DOC back then, and I just switched that out for the Pete Rock CL Smooth Basement album. Because that's kind of what I was more interested
into right then.
More that East Coast New York hip hop as opposed to all that West Coast. But believe it or not, like I'll never forget like when Snoop Dogg dropped for the first time when he was on the Chronic, and when he dropped, and it getting to us, and like it was in the record stores, and so the labels did a really great job back in the day of like infiltrating the record stores and putting their priorities in, in those, you'd walk into a record shop and they'd have like the top
10, 20 albums, records out right now. Yeah,
see that, and I don't know how they
singles, whatever it
was, right? So we were able to get that cracking, and then it was really also a car culture as well. Kobe had this Pathfinder and he pimped it out.
Yeah,
he had this crazy Viper alarm. You think about Viper stand back.
Yeah,
and he had this. Had this subwoofer.
Bro, that was the crazy. I remember having a 14-inch subwoofer in the back of my car, and I thought I was the coolest kid out.
And when you drive, and it would rattle your license plate.
Oh yeah, you'd have to stick something up behind the license plate to stop it from rattling,
which he didn't do. and I never thought to help him in that regard.
Yeah.
It was not my car. But that was like a thing. So we were always into like music and car culture and switching out the radios in your car and getting your speaker game up and getting maybe an amp if you wanted one. Or
you had to have the amp in there. The tweeters, the 10x9s or the 6x9s in the back. You had to have.
Like they would drill those. Get something in the back, and like anyway, that was our.
No one wanted to buy your car after you because everything was completely changed within the inside. They're like, yo, a regular person doesn't want this car anymore.
Right. Because people were buying. They were my first car was a 1980 Oldsmobile Cutlass.
Yeah.
I started driving when I was 16, so it was 1990.
Yeah.
So it was a 10-year-old car that I wish I had today because that body style was classic. And the things you could have done to it, it would have been amazing. It was like a boat. And it had a V8, but it was like crazy. Anyway, we always upgrade the system, speakers and sound. Anyway, so it just ended up for me, and that was what we were into, and. Being that Kobe was an athlete, he was playing hoops a lot. There was just a lot of hip hop around
you,
and then Kobe got into whatever you get into, and like it just became a thing. And there was like a kind of a gang culture in Maryland, and it's just kind of coming up in Maryland really helped shape my foundation for whatever I'm doing today.
And then you obviously you go to college. You went to Syracuse University, and you, like me, were in the communications school over there. I think you were in the communications school,
Yeah, I was in visual and performing arts.
Okay, yeah.
With a focus on speech communications.
Gotcha, yeah. So what kind of like...
But I minored in the music industry.
Were you always going to college? Was that like always the plan?
So I was a musical person.
Yeah.
I used to like sing in the chorus in the chamber group.
I stayed away from singing. I know I had a terrible voice from a young age, so I was nowhere near that.
Yeah, I didn't know one way or the other if I had a good voice or not. I just really enjoyed music. So I like started taking like acting classes.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to just always be in entertainment in some regard. It just fit and felt right.
Yeah.
So I was in like junior high school. I remember really excelling at in that one class you had to take for singing.
Yeah.
I just remember excelling in that and really I loved being loud and like singing passionately, and it was my thing. And so when I went to high school, the chorus, I tried out for chorus.
Yeah.
And the teacher was like, all right, cool. And then she suggested I try out for the chamber group, which is, chorus was like 20 kids per section.
Okay.
And chamber was like 8 kids per section. You had to audition. It was like this. It was like
it's like the elite group of the people from the chorus before. Okay, got you.
So I did that, and I always wanted to act. So I was doing the shows too, the Broadway style musicals.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that. I guess the chamber singing teacher saw me, and she was like, "You should audition for this." So when I started, because I was so young and behind in my growth.
Yeah.
I started like as a soprano.
Okay.
Because I could hit the same notes as the girls.
Yeah.
And then my voice eventually changed.
Yeah.
And then I shifted down to alto to tenor, and I did that. But then I got kicked out of the class because I was so arrogant. Because I really thought that I had this natural skill set, and she's like, little homie, like it doesn't matter,
Well, you just wouldn't listen,
you're replaceable.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just was like energized. I was always talking to people, and I didn't. And
social.
I was social. And I just wanted to have a lot of fun, and I knew I could sing, and I guess maybe at some point I thought that it didn't matter. Like I'm never gonna get kicked out because I can do whatever I want because she's gonna need me because of how good I am. Like that's how.
Wow, you learned that lesson young.
Yeah, well, I was like, I got kicked out. So I got kicked out of a Broadway show, because I guess I came across as like aloof, arrogant, and like a know-it-all. Like maybe narcissistic to some extent, but not in a negative way. Just like real like boisterous and energized and like talkative and like social but also cocky. But confident too.
Yeah.
I just knew that when you're born with the ability to sing. Yeah. That that's you either like you don't
know it.
You can practice a lot and get good, but you're either born with it or you're not. Yeah.
How were you at like your other side of school? Because like obviously like the creative side, like singing, and your like the performing side seems like it took your eye early. Was the other side, was that like this was like a kind of a way to get out of that by doing those things?
I don't know. Because I was the kind of person that never meshed with the people that were in the like chorus, or the musical theater, like they just weren't my speed. Like all my buddies, no one was doing that. Like Kobe was definitely not doing that. He was playing hoops, and he was, gang banging to some extent. And so we were like a group of suburbanites that like were so influenced and affected by hip hop and whatever was happening in New York and that culture. That it just didn't mesh with like the musical theater scene or like the chamber singing theme, right? Although we were consuming so much of this music, and R&B was massive in DC, so that was another aspect of it that kind of layered into the overall narrative. But I guess because I never meshed with any of these people, I don't want to say I thought I was like better than them.
You kind of came and did it as like, this is what I'm good at, this is easy, but this is not really the crowd that I'm running with over here.
Right. So again, and this is all like in the hindsight, and if I could redo it, I would have been much more respectful, and I would have like just taken it more seriously, and I would have, but I was a kid. I didn't know.
No, for sure. Yeah. And these are the lessons. And I believe like the lesson that you just, you're talking about now of, really being, thinking that you're irreplaceable and that you're so good.
Definitely think I'm not irreplaceable. Like no one can replace me.
No one can.
And the teacher, both were like, it doesn't matter how great you are.
Yeah.
If you're not, coordinating with my views or my
working with the team here
or the team or however, you're out.
And that's a lesson that people learn like way later in life. Like that's a lesson where, people, and I always say it to interns or to people that are working with us, it's like you can teach someone how to do something, right? Maybe not singing, but whatever else it is, you can't teach attitude, you can't teach passion, you can't teach like a work ethic. Those things are like the people come in and they have them or they don't.
Right.
And that's what you look for. You know what I mean? You look for energy, because the people that come in and are like, you can't deal without me, those are the people that no one wants to work with.
Right.
Right.
And I never came out and said it like that. I just like I just always felt different. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, I don't know why, I just felt different. I was also little. Like I was the smallest kid in school growing up.
I feel you, bro. I was exactly the same.
Like it was no fun, man.
Yeah.
It was like I had braces from like 7th grade to senior year. Like it was like I was a little kid. I was behind in my growth, and so maybe because of that, I like expressed myself boisterously and passionately.
Yeah. I definitely believe that, because I was the same. I was the same. I was the loud kid that wanted the attention and wanted to be liked by everyone, because I feel like, you compensate for like, okay, I'm not the tallest kid, I can't do this.
Right. So
you find your own little niche of what you can do.
Right. For me, like I wasn't able to be. So the only sport I was able to play was I wrestled, because that's something I had always done, even when I was like at like 8, 9. Like I started just doing that, and so. But I didn't weigh enough to wrestle in high school. because there's a
the weight classes
threshold
yeah
of a specific weight that the state has approved. That's by law that you're able to wrestle in.
Okay.
So I wasn't truly able to wrestle until my junior year of high school.
Got you.
And you had to be 88 pounds.
Yeah.
To wrestle.
Yeah.
And I was 83.
Crazy.
85.
Mm-hmm.
So I made the team, but I had to make weight. So, everyone else is cutting the weight.
And you're trying to...
I'm eating.
You're eating as much as possible.
So I can get on the scale and make 88.
Yeah.
Which I ended up doing. But I was just so challenged by my size that the first year I was in JV, and then I made varsity.
Yeah.
And so that was good. I got that that helped me as well, and got me really focused on just being able to be on a schedule and be coached and so then over time, like it balanced itself out. Yeah. I still ended up getting kicked out of that Chambers group, and I never came back. Yeah. And I did end up getting kicked out of one of the musical theater performances. And I never came back, and it was fine. It is what it is. Yeah. It just didn't work out for me. Regardless, I graduate high school, and then I went to college at Syracuse. Yeah. And right away, I realized that like I just had a skill set to like DJ like parties. Yeah. But not like spin, but I could
like
choose.
Curating the songs that people would want to dance
like,
to.
What should I play next, and what should I play next? And I remember like being in the fraternity houses my freshman year, and I was in a fraternity. Yeah. And my neighbor was throwing this gathering in his room, and I was like, "Yo, I'm a DJ. You cool?" He's like, "Yeah, you handle that." Yeah. And so I just remember like picking records, and I remember looking around. These guys were like loving the records I was picking. And then after that, I got a job at a bar as a DJ. Yeah. And I didn't have any skill set of being a DJ, but there was no mixer. Yeah. I would go from CD to CD. I would fade. It was terrible. Yeah. But like I did it for a couple years, and then that was a good experience because I was able to like vibe out. But this wasn't hip hop. Like this was.
What are you playing? What are you playing
like
these days?
Rock and like alternative music and like pop music and like not a lot of hip hop because that wasn't the night. Yeah. The night was frat boy rock. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sorority rock.
What was it about? And I feel like there is something about playing music and people enjoying it, even if it's not your own music, but when you are picking something and you see people enjoying it, you can get like a buzz from that.
Yeah. Like especially when you play something and people do react in a way that like enhances their night. It makes you feel incredible. And look, this DJ booth wasn't the setup that you see today. Yeah. This DJ booth was like
in the corner,
like in a legit room like this. Yeah. Smaller than this, door and like just a window. So you couldn't really see out.
So no one could see you, but you're in there.
They could, but they'd knock.
Oh, okay, yeah. And they'd write little notes of like what they wanted up against the window, like play this.
But yeah, exactly that. But you have to understand, they also didn't. There was no digital technology. Yeah. Right? We just had like I think I got my first email address in 1991 or 92. Yeah. And I didn't quite comprehend what that
the
meant.
email was.
Like, why do I need an email address? What is this for? Yeah. There was no true internet. Like I had a computer, but there was no like true Ethernet. It was all like
you weren't connecting with other people on the lengths that we do.
There was no blogs to check on. There's no complex or
we used it. I remember using it for like encyclopedias for schoolwork and stuff. Like that was the only thing we would ever use it for.
Right. If that. Like I don't know how old you are.
31.
Right. Okay. So,
87.
Right. So you had it when you were in your teenage years. Like that didn't exist for us. Yeah. We had video games. We had Nintendos and Ataris and NESs and Segas and all that shit, but we just didn't have the internet. So anyway, you had to buy your shit. Yeah. You had to buy music. So I didn't have enough money. Yeah. To continually buy records.
Which is the crazy difference that kids today have no idea about.
None. Dude, I had to borrow records from people. Yeah. Like I would like go to
I remember borrowing CD collections.
But having to carry your crates of CDs to go DJ was just a crazy task. And I'm sure there's people watching that were like, well, motherfucker, wait, you probably never had to deal with the vinyl. Yeah. Like today a DJ can pop a laptop.
Oh yeah, or two jump drives.
Yeah. Or whatever it is, and just travel anywhere they want to go and crush it. And it wasn't that. Yeah. So when I was DJing with these CDs, so you also don't have the internet to go to curate new shit, right? And there wasn't, any blog for you to like check out all the newest releases. Now you have Spotify, New Music Friday. You got every release.
Yeah, and everything gets pushed to you. You know what I mean? Like anything that's new, you can go to the what's new on your Spotify, your title, whatever it is.
Right.
Then it was like word of mouth, or you would go to the record store or the CD shop.
You needed the record store. That was what your outlet was.
Yeah.
Like the record store was the blog, was the Spotify, was the iTunes. It was, but it was just physical brick and mortar. So you'd walk in, and people would line up, midnight releases. People would line up, to get certain things, and so that was what you would do. But it cost a lot of money, man. And had I been really savvy, which again I didn't have it back then. When I was a freshman in college, I probably should have called around to all the record labels and said, "Hey, I'm a DJ. Can you send me some product?" And then I could have, But what ended up transpiring in college was one summer I realized that I wanted to be in the record business, and I was like, listen, I love music, it's in my blood, but I just don't think that it's going to be a career for me. I mean, I was in a band as well in college, and I was like performing, and I was like the lead singer of this band.
What's your band name in college?
So the fraternity already had a band named Major Deegan.
Okay, yeah.
And the Expressways, because in New York there's a thoroughfare called the Major Deegan Expressway. So because that already existed, then we became Minor Deegan.
Yeah.
And the Expressways.
Dope.
So which was cool, whatever. And we performed fraternity parties, and I performed at like a couple of things here and there.
Yeah.
I could see, I got a glimpse into the life of like a C-list rock star.
A rock star.
There was things that transpired just because I was a singer in a band.
Yeah.
That changed with the way people would treat
interact with you.
Interact.
Yeah.
Especially of the female.
Yeah.
Version. Like you, just because I.
That's
sing in
the
a band,
reason that everyone wants to be a rapper or a singer at that age, or play basketball, is because if you want to get the girl.
Yeah. Just I was in a band. I literally saw a change in interaction from females.
Yeah.
It was really amazing. That wouldn't have happened if I wasn't in this band. Anyway, I was in this band.
Yeah.
And I was DJing, and I had done all this music stuff, and I was trying to be an actor as a kid. I had an agent. I was going on auditions. Like I was just entertainment was.
Wow, you were really doing it. Like once you having an agent is like, okay, this is actually something I really want to pursue.
Yeah, when I was a junior in high school, and I had figured out a way to get an agent. Yeah. And my parents were like, all right, cool. Yeah. And I auditioned all the time. Yeah. And I got one role. I was like in this industrial student film, like they show in high school, called Tug of War, and I was like an extra. Yeah. And I got paid like $37.
Yo, you've been a paid actor. That's a lot more than a lot of acters out here in LA.
Yeah, and this happened in Maryland. And then I auditioned for a whole bunch of shows, and one time I did get like a call back. It just didn't work out. Yeah. Whatever. But that was my thing, and singing was my thing, and trying to be in music. And then I was in this band, and I was a DJ, and then I realized, you know what? I'm probably not going to make it as an artist. Maybe I'll try the business aspect and backdoor my way in. Yeah. So once I'm in the label, if I'm good enough, then I can find my way in. So I had an ex-babysitter from New York. Yeah. This girl, Amy Wachtel. And she was working at Night Nurse Productions, which was what's the reggae dude that sings Night Nurse?
How far back are we talking here? We're gonna look it up. Look it up. Before Bob Marley era, or after that?
It's around the same time.
Okay. Night Nurse.
Yeah, man. You know the Night Nurse record.
Okay. So this artist was on the label that she was working for.
Yeah. So this girl worked at Night Nurse Productions
in New York City.
In New York.
And you're still you're at Syracuse now.
And yeah, it's Gregory Isaacs. I was going to say Gregory Isaacs. I just want to get it wrong. But anyway, so she worked at Night Nurse Productions, right, which was Gregory Isaacs' production company. Yeah. And she would get all these magazines, obviously, like Network 40 or whatever the trade magazines were. Yeah. And I just really wanted to. I realized that the record business was
what you wanted.
It was. I was a sophomore going into my junior year, and that was just what it was. So I was studying at Syracuse. I took my second semester of my junior year, and I went abroad to Italy.
Beautiful.
And I remember just going out and buying all this like bootleg music while I was out there, like live performances of just the artists that I was really into. And it just my love for the record business and just music just even swelled even more.
Yeah.
So I had been communicating with my parents, and I was like, hey, I really need to figure this out. So if you hear of anything from this girl Amy, let me know.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, I just got off the phone with her. She sent me this notification. There's an internship at Jive Records.
Yeah.
That you could do if interested. It's in this Network 40 in the back. Jive is looking for interns. And I was like, all right, what do we got to do?
You're in Italy still.
I'm in Italy.
Yeah.
And this is like there was fax machines, but I didn't have like a computer. I wasn't able to like write a letter. So my mom was like, all right, I'll write the letter. Let me deal with it.
Mom to the rescue.
My mother really helped me out. Like she got me cracking. So she reached out to this girl. So Amy circles it, faxes it to my father.
Yeah. And
then my mom reads it to me. I'm like, that sounds perfect. Let's do this.
Yeah.
This is the summer between my junior and senior year.
Yeah.
So my mom writes this letter. My son is in Italy. He doesn't have access to a computer or a fax machine, but he wanted me to reach out to you.
Yeah.
He would love this opportunity. He loves the record business. He's a DJ at college. He goes to Syracuse. He's been this, that. And she just wrote it all out.
Yeah.
This girl, and he'll return on this day. He would love to get this. She's like, all right, cool. Well, that timing works. Have him come meet with me. So I literally land. I'm in Italy. The semester ends. I land back in New York. I had a girlfriend at the time. I stayed in New York. I went to the interview.
Yeah.
And obviously I did my research. I knew Jive because of Tribe. And I was all about, and Tribe was, for me at that
huge
time.
Right then,
Yeah, I mean, with Midnight Marauders was a big album for us during college. And then obviously prior to that, you had Low End Theory, and then prior to that, The Peoples. But so I super consumed, I'd already consumed all that, but super consumed, just wanted to make sure I knew every lyric
the ins
and
and outs.
everything, right? And I sat down, and she was the assistant to the head of A&R, and I nailed the interview, and she gave me the gig.
Crazy.
So I interned at Jive Records December between 95 and 96 in the A&R department, working with all the A&R people, sample clearance. And at that time, it was like E40, Sprinkle Me, was on Jive. Britney was cracking on Jive. Tribe was cracking on Jive. I think
they're popping right then.
The Backstreet Boys were cracking on Jive. Like Jive had some things going.
Yeah.
And then
it's like a dream internship right here.
It was the best. And I didn't quite know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know what A&R was. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be in
You knew you wanted to be in the record record business.
I'll go wherever.
Yeah.
So I do this internship, and then through this internship, and I'm talking to a lot of people, and I met a lot of people.
Yeah.
This one person was like, you should be a college rep when you go back to college for a label.
Yeah.
We have like back in the day, they used to have specific reps at colleges to help infiltrate the college team with your music, which I think is extremely important.
Yeah.
And so I went back to school after my internship, and I got a college rep position for Capitol Records, and that was amazing because they would just send me all this free shit. Is
this your first kind of experience of like being given free shit?
Yeah, I mean,
that you're actually into.
Yeah, Jive Records for sure. I got a lot of free shit. I got a lot of free wax and a lot of free CDs. Like R. Kelly was on Jive at that time. Like it was just a lot.
Huge.
It was like that was like a great internship. And I was in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I was living in Long Island with my grandparents and my uncle. They all, and I would take the train in, and I just remember submerging myself in the culture, of New York City and what that whole thing was all about. And I'm working at a record label, and it just felt special.
Yeah.
So then I go back to college, and I'm the college rep for Capitol Records. I'm working at a lifestyle shop, like a clothing store, and so I would take the music they would send me, and I would play it at the store, and I would hand it out to my friends, and I would DJ. So I would DJ the music, and I was just doing what a college rep would do.
Yeah.
There was a local radio station, but no one. What's crazy is back at that college rep, they never said like you need to work the college radio station. Like, no one said to me you need to go and handle that. This is what you need to do. Like,
which would be ideal. You know what I mean?
It's like not every college market has a radio station that's cracking like the one that was in Syracuse. But I wanted to work at the radio station, so I even explored that for a second, but it just didn't work out. Yeah. But there's people that went through the Syracuse radio station. This guy Deion Summers who runs SiriusXM's urban music department over at SiriusXM. He was the program director at Z89 in Syracuse.
Crazy.
So like Syracuse was also a very artistic, liberal arts school for media. Yeah. Their communication school, Newhouse.
Yeah,
which I wasn't.
Newhouse has amazing communication. I actually looked into going there. I ended up at USC, but Syracuse is one I looked at.
TV, film, and advertising are massive there. And then from there, so I realized after I'm doing the internship at Jive, and I got this college rep position for Capitol, that there was a music industry program at Syracuse.
Yeah.
So I ended up dedicating and focusing my senior year at Syracuse to
music industry.
And I took all these classes, like concert sound and recording, where I had to like record someone in an auditorium setting, just like private performance.
Yeah.
One of my buddies who went to Syracuse, who we were in the same circles, his name's Pete Yorn. He's an artist now.
Yeah.
He was signed to Columbia.
Yeah.
He's managed, he's in the game. He just put out a record with Scarlett Johansson. Like,
wow.
He's a real artist. That was the guy I recorded for my concert sound and recording class. He was still a student.
That's crazy.
And I did like history of music classes where you learn about contracts and like royalties and just all this just all this.
Unbeknownst that today all of that stuff would play a role in like what you're doing.
Yeah, I just knew that if I wanted to be in the record business that I should take these classes. So I got credit for the college rep position for Capitol. I was a interning or helping out for free this club doing concert promotion for all the shows that would come down to Ithaca, and the guy would send me all this like promotional material, and I would put it up and like whatever. I did whatever I
you
needed
could
to do to like just familiarize myself with anything music related based on what was provided to me. One, you have to make a decision on what you want to do in your life, and two, after you make your decision, you have to figure out what you're going to do to educate yourself. Yeah,
and you have to take the steps in order to get yourself to a position, which is something that I find kids today don't understand, that no one's going to just give you a paid job. Like, no one's going to just be like, oh, hey, yeah, come and work for here and we're going to give you this job. It's like, show them that you're going to do it for free. A lot of the time, it's either internships or it's just literally like, yo, I'm down to grind and do whatever you need, and show you the work ethic. And then they're going to be like, okay, this person is down to ride with us.
Yeah. And for me specifically, honestly, just to recap, like, Mom's really helped me. Yeah. Because she knew how passionate I was about it. And she helped me by setting up that first interview for me. Yeah. And then after that, it all started to happen. I mean, if you believe in vibrational energy, if
definitely
you put that out in the world and you align yourself vibrationally with what it is that you want, you will attract like-minded energy, and you will eventually get there. That just is a given fact. It's what happens to everybody who knows about it and who focuses on it. It's the best thing that you can do, and it's available for you for free. All you got to do is just speak it and feel it. Yeah. So I did that, and it ended up just one door opened and then another opened, and listen, it wasn't always easy, right?
Of course not.
Like, for example, at the internship, so when I left the internship, the guy, the head of the promotion, head of the A&R department, said to me, dude, great summer, thanks so much. We got you covered. When you graduate, call us. Yeah. Got a job for you. You're set. I'm like, awesome. Yeah. I didn't really believe that, but I thought, like, you know what? This would be cool if it happens.
Of course.
So I did my college rep position. I did my concert promotion stuff. I minored in the music industry. I'd already been at Jive Records, so I'd already built a couple of things. I graduate.
Get on the phone.
Yo, can I speak to Jeff Fenster, please? Jeff Fenster was the head of A&R at the time.
Yeah.
Man, I called that dude every single day for about 3 months. Yeah. Wrote him letters. Never took a call.
I've been there.
After the dude told me, we got you. Yeah. Like, that was my first, like, oh, okay, this is what the record business is all about. But it didn't deter me from anything. So I graduated. I moved to Maryland. I reached out to Jeff Fenster for 3 months straight. Nothing. In the meantime, I was working as a waiter, which was actually a great job because it made me some cash. Yeah. I got to eat for cheap. Yeah. The restaurant was delicious. And it gave me a chance to, like, get hungry again. Yeah. No pun intended. Yeah. But, like, I'm not in the business now. My internships are over. I graduated. Music industry program is done. Yeah. I got nothing. What do I want to do? What was a sticking point with me is that everybody in college was like, the majority of people were like, oh, I gotta send out my resume. I gotta get a job. Like, I was not into that. Like, I was just like, I'm gonna ride this college thing out. Yeah. I'm gonna be working for the rest of my life. Yeah. I'm gonna take my time.
Smart.
So I graduated, and I remember going to the post office, because you didn't email people back then, right? Like, it just wasn't a thing, at least not yet. And I would go to the post office and I would see people, and I'm like, wait, they're like, yeah, getting out my my resume.
Sending out the resumes.
I'm like,
I can't even imagine doing that, having to, like, literally label each individual letter and send it out, and have no idea when it's getting there or if it's getting there.
And if it's even going to be read.
Yeah.
Or any of that.
Yeah.
So, I was just, at that moment, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna stress myself out with that shit.
Yeah.
I will get a job.
Yeah.
I just don't know when or how, but it will happen.
Yeah.
So I move home, work as a waiter, and then after 3 months I look up, I'm like, I am not getting anywhere right now. I'm reaching out to all these people and no one can help me.
Yeah.
And I ended up just picking up my shit, and I moved to Long Island with my grandparents again because that was helpful for me for the internship.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I gotta be in New York if I'm gonna get a job in New York. I get there, and a week after I get there, I land an interview at a booking agency, ICM, which is big out here in Hollywood. And I got a job in the agent training program. But originally it was through the concert promotion department. Yeah. So like a booking agency.
Yeah.
And there was a guy there that they were early on in the hip hop game. They had Missy Elliott, they had Bad Boy, all the whole Puff and Baby and all that. But majority of that thing was like rock based, like Allman Brothers or like Edwin McCain or who like Eddie Money, like just like really like whack rock, but cool rock.
Yeah, no, for
like,
sure.
But like older, like heritage touring acts. And then there was like this hip hop division. And the hip hop division was Mark Cheatham and this dude Rich Murphy. Rich was Eddie's nephew.
Okay.
Eddie and Charlie's nephew.
Yeah.
So I was like enamored by like the fact that I'm working with like Eddie Murphy's nephew.
Yeah.
That was like cool to me.
Hell yeah.
And Mark Cheatham, and those were like the cool dudes. They were cool, laid back, and like that's when I knew like hip hop really was probably where I needed to be, because all these other dudes at ICM were
you had nothing
out, and they were angry and they were yelling at everybody. Like working at this agent training program, like I started in the mailroom, I worked my way up. I was in the concert promotion department, on and off. I would deliver the mail. I was delivering like Broadway music theater tickets I would drop off the ticket orders at all the theaters. Yeah. Like I was just doing whatever it took.
Of course.
And I just remember that the non-hip hop dudes were stressed, angry, and just unnecessarily like mean and rude.
Yeah. You want nothing, and you can identify that.
Assistants were crying.
Yeah.
Like it was bad.
That.
Like this sexual harassment shit. Like
that's going on right now.
I witnessed all of it.
Yeah.
And like I legitimately heard agents call their assistants idiots.
Yeah.
Like, what are you, a fucking idiot? Like, fuck at them off. Like shit like that. That would not be tolerated in this day and age.
Yeah, of course.
So I saw that and I was like, that's
not what you want to be doing.
So I left I was like, this ain't for me. So I left. And plus I was getting paid no money.
Yeah.
Like I was scraping, like I worked my way up.
Well, that's the thing. You use that to get something on the resume,
right?
Rather than just your college, your internships. You had a real job, you know.
Right. So I get it. So I get out of Maryland. I'm a waiter. I moved to Long Island, and I get this job at ICM. I'm doing ICM for about 9 months, and I realized this is not right.
Yeah.
It's just these people are not looking to, like you said earlier, we were talking about that, pull you in under their wing, and like give you a chance. That was not happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, F it. This is not going to be good for me. And I'm not comfortable with this archaic rock and roll like touring.
Yeah.
Like there's no creativity. There's no music creation. There's no ideology about helping develop artists. Like it's really just about booking a tour.
A tour, yeah.
And yet
for bands that you probably have at that stage no interest in, or are not like cutting edge.
Yeah, and all these people were really arrogant.
Yeah.
Like thinking that their shit didn't stink. And like it just, they weren't cool. It is what it was.
Yeah.
So that first experience, although I was extremely appreciative to have it, it just didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
So after 9 months, I leave, and again I was making no money, and then I got a job as a temp at a consulting firm.
Yeah.
And I doubled my salary.
Yeah.
As a temp.
Yeah.
No benefits, but I doubled my salary. Lunch was free. They had snacks for free. They had a pool table. I got a computer with an email address.
That's crazy that you talk about that, because I feel like that's where companies are going now. With the food, the snacks, the environment, and I feel like I haven't seen that along the way. But it's crazy you talk about they had that back then.
So so I'm in Manhattan, and so I'm living on Long Island, working in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And I needed to move into the city.
Yeah.
Right? I was sick and tired of living with my grandparents and my uncle. I love them to pieces. May my grandparents rest in peace. But I needed to be in the city.
Of course.
So one of my college roommates or friends was like, hey, let's get a place together. You cool? So we got this one bedroom. We built a wall and we split it, and I moved to Manhattan. I moved in on the day that Biggie died. I'll never forget it.
Wow, into Manhattan?
Into my apartment on the day that Biggie died. It's everyone will remember where they were when Biggie died. Like,
what's it like? What's it like at that? Like being there during the whole mayhem of that.
So it was shock. I mean, it was shock. Everyone was shocked. Yeah. Right. Everyone was really depressed at that time. It was fucked up when that happened.
Yeah.
And you mourned and you did what you did. But for me, it happened, and then I had to move in. So I was just like dealing with it.
Yeah.
And we're just doing what we did at that time. But that was a tough, funky time. But being in New York, like especially tough. Yeah. Because everyone was affected.
Oh, for sure.
And so I moved into the city, and then I left, and I was temping, and life was good, but I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And I remember my friends being like, "Man, you got to be in the record business. It's much better. It's much more of a fit."
Yeah.
So I did that temp job at a consulting firm. That didn't work out. I had friends in the record business, and they would like send me CD packages.
Yeah.
And I'd get like 30 CDs in a package in a big jiffy. And I just remember staying in touch with these assistants and communicating with people. And one thing led to another. I left the temp job and I got a job at another temp job at an advertising agency. This was much more my speed, more creative advertising. And I was looking for work, and I used to send letters out to every record label, every department, every person, weekly.
Yeah. Saying what?
Whatever, like dear whoever that was.
Yeah.
My name's Noah Shear. I graduated college from Syracuse. I'm looking to get in the record business. I don't care what department. I work in finance, A&R, promotion, marketing. I just want to get my foot in the door. Yeah. Please let me know if you have the availability.
Yeah.
And it was the same generic letter, but I sent it to every single person at every record label because you had these Polestar magazines, and they had every single department and every person updated in these books. So I remember grabbing a Polestar and making a photocopy of it, and just like going home and just like using that as your
template of who you're sending it to.
My guidebook. And I would
grinding it out.
And I just would every week.
Yeah.
One day. So I'm no longer I'm in between temp jobs, right? And money again was tight. Because you're scraping it together and you're living in Manhattan and you're just trying to,
Yeah.
And I remember like I had to go to Florida to go visit my family, whatever. And I went to Florida and I come back and there's an answer machine message and I check it. And there's a guy who's like, "Hey, Noah, this is Ken Lane from Arista Records. I remember you from our internship together at Jive." He's like, "There is a position open. I got your letter. He's like, there's a position open. They're interviewing now. Call me back." So this was like 3 days prior. And so I call him and I'm like, "Ken," I go, "I hope it's not too late."
Yeah.
I just got back. I was out away. I didn't really have
a cell phone. Yeah.
Like, and he's like, no. He's like, "They're still interviewing." He's like, let's set you up.
Yeah.
So now I'm at this advertising agency, and that worked out. They actually offered me a job.
Yeah.
And I was gonna take that job. At the same time that job was offered to me, I sit down and I get this interview at Arista Records in promotion.
Yeah.
And I learned that it's radio promotion.
Yeah.
And it was in like the AC department, working for like the adult contemporary, hot AC, like Sarah McLachlan was Dido, like all these like female driven, like Barry Manilow, like Deborah Cox, all this like adult music, but I didn't care.
No, you're like, this is record label and within radio promotions, which is like your speed.
Right. So I sit down, I nailed the interview, and they offered me the job. And in 1998, I left the temp job at the advertising agency. I told them, I appreciate you offering me a gig. Any other circumstance I would have taken it. I go, but I really need to be in the record business, and this is the job I got offered. And I took the job, and after 2 years there, I started to figure out what it was as an assistant. I got the system down. My boss at that time, that guy Ken Lane, left to be the head of promotion at Island Def Jam.
Crazy.
Because they were rebuilding their team.
Yeah.
Because Island and Def Jam had just merged in 1999. Mid-99, mid to the tail end.
Yeah.
That was Leor, Kevin Lyles, Julie Greenwald, and just and Mike Kaiser. Like, just to understand who these people are. Like, Leor's now running YouTube Music.
Yeah.
Julie's running Atlantic Records. Kevin Lyles, like, is running 300 and his own management company.
Yeah.
Mike Kaiser is Julie's right hand as like the EVP GM of Atlantic. Like
wow.
Like all these people were at Def Jam.
Mm-hmm.
So Ken was like, I need a DC regional.
Yeah.
I would love to make you the DC regional. I'm gonna bring you with me. I'm like, dog, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I go, tell me what I got to do. He's like, nothing. He's like, it's your job. You're gonna start January 1st.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
You're like, fuck yeah.
So I was getting paid like, I don't know, like, what was that, $30,000 a year?
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
struggling.
Yeah.
I get the job. The salary's a little better.
Yeah.
I had to get a car. I moved to DC. I'm home now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it all started in the year 2000, January year 2000. I'm at Island Def Jam.
Yeah.
This guy Ken Lane brought me in, and I was an experiment. They're like, we're gonna try this rookie assistant, because at that time, like, these promotion staffs were all veterans.
Yeah.
And like coming from Arista, where Arista was like Clive Davis.
Yeah.
Everybody on the team was like, it was like the Harvard of promotion staffs. Like, it was like Ivy League level promotion. They broke a tremendous amount of artists at Arista. I mean, the whole Bad Boy thing was broken at Arista.
Yeah.
The locks and you know, all the stuff on the pop side.
Yeah.
It was, you know.
This is your
like Outkast was breaking when I was there. Like, it was all that was happening in you know, with the Love Below speaker box, double CD, like all that.
You're amongst it then. At this stage, it's like, this is are you feeling right now at this stage of like where you're at and like the struggles of even getting to here, like, okay, I've found my calling now?
Yeah, when I got into promotion at Arista Records, I knew, you know, because everyone that I was surrounded by, like, everybody is still in the game.
Yeah.
To some extent.
Yeah.
You know, either independently or at a label or somehow, some way, like, they're just knee deep in it, managing songwriters or you know, whatever it is, right? But you know, the record business is such a close knit family that you cross paths with everybody. It's hard to get out once you're in. Like, you don't ever want to leave. Yeah. Because of you know, we're all in it for the same reason. Because we have a passion for music, and for the business, and we want to break artists, and we want to like be on the cusp of like the next wave and all that. So when my boss asked me to leave and go to Def Jam, or Island Def Jam at that time, I mean, I remember being on the phone in my apartment and telling a buddy like, yo, I just got a job to go to Island Def Jam. I'm gonna be working at Def Jam doing radio promotion.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding? Like, that's something that's not supposed to happen. Yeah. To a kid from Maryland, from the suburbs. You know?
But someone gave you that chance. You know, that they believed in you because they had seen your path, like your struggle, but also your drive.
Yeah, man, I was in early. I was out late. I was always the first one there, last one to leave.
Smart.
Like, I never, as an assistant, would ever leave until the work was done. Believe it or not, like, I was able to actually get my work done and then leave. Yeah. And so I had nothing carrying over. Yeah. That has drastically changed. Yeah. Like, there's no finish line now, and so I don't have to finish every task. And you know what? There are tasks that can't get finished within a day.
Of course.
But like, when you're an assistant, there are tasks that you can start and finish in that day. I remember never leaving until the task was done. I never wanted to come in and have a pile of work that I left over from the day before. I just didn't feel like that was responsible enough.
No, and that's a huge example of that. You know, the people that are going to believe in you and the people that did believe in you saw your dedication and the fact that you knew, like, this meant something to the people above you, and if it wasn't done, it slowed down their process. Right. You know? Right,
exactly. And you know, look, I took everything that was provided to me, and I dealt with it, and my boss and I really hit it off at that time, and he was like, I'm bringing you with me, and then I did my thing in DC for 4 years, and for the first year and a half, I think they were like, all right, listen, if the kid succeeds, awesome. Yeah. He's cheap. He's not an expensive salary. Yeah. And we'll get benefit out of it. If he doesn't succeed, whatever, it's not expensive salary, and we'll just find somebody new. Yeah. And for the first year, it was probably like, ooh, I don't know, and then like all of a sudden it clicked. I remember somebody telling me that it's going to take a year. Yeah. And once the year comes up, you're going to notice like a light switch go off.
What was it? What was the part that really clicked and you went, okay, wow, it really is working?
I was driving with my boss. Yeah. On the road. And we had cell phones now at this time. But the craziest thing about this, just real quick, was I remember Lior being in a meeting and saying out loud to the whole staff, because you know, back then, like, Jay would be with the SkyTel two-way clamshell pager, you know, and all the artists would have them, but Def Jam was really the only artist and some of the other rappers maybe had him, but like Jay was on the cusp of that. Of that mobile.
He was like what you look at as the face of that. Yeah. You know, you wanted that because Jay had that.
Right. So Leor had him. Julie had one. Kevin had one. Kazi, they all had them. And I remember Leor saying, I don't know why our regional staff, because he never had a radio promotion staff. Def Jam's never had a radio promotion staff before, ever, up until 1999 and 2000 when it all kicked off, where they merged together with Island, and then there was an Island Def Jam
radio promotions,
and he had never had one. Def Jam used to be like TDE.
Crazy.
Where they used the Interscope staff, or like Cash Money, where they used the Republic staff, or back then it was Motown staff, but then it turned into the Republic staff. So he was always, that was what Def Jam was.
Yeah.
And they had their own promotion staff for the first time. He's like, I don't know why all of our regionals don't have two-ways and digital cameras.
Yeah.
I'd been on the job for 2 weeks. We get a package in the mail, all of us, and like within a few days, and it's the SkyTel two-way and it's the digital camera. And I remember going to record meetings at these radio stations, and I'm pulling out my two-way, and everybody's in the lobby, all these other labels, and they're looking at us, and they're like, damn. They're like, when, how, like what?
They're like, you're radio promotions? Like,
right. They're like, what? They're like, really? So what you would see is about fast forward a month later, everybody had him.
Everyone had him.
Because word spread. But that's what I'm trying to tell you is that like Leor and Def Jam, it was always just a step ahead.
A step ahead of the game.
So we had these digital cameras. We're taking photos of everything out there, and I would remember going with my digital to the Kodak development store, and I would develop these photos, and I put them in frames, and I'd give them, because we had artists running the market all the time. So what clicked? I'm driving, and I'm on my cell phone, and I'm talking to a radio station. My boss, the head of promotion, is in the car, and I convinced a radio station to give me 4 ads. Yeah. Which they call a quadruple.
Fuck.
Like
4.
Most of the time back then, it was like, it was a little bit easier to wheel and deal. But like you'll get an ad. You get 2 ads, right? On any given week. Yeah. Where the radio stations add the song to the playlist. Yeah. Man, but this guy, we worked out a deal where he did 4. And my boss, after I hang up the phone, looks at me and he goes, "Hold up." He goes, "Pull over. We're driving." So I pull off the road. He's like, and he turns to me and he's like, "Did you just know what just happened there?" Yeah. He's like, "That's not normal, man. You just got 4 ads." He's like, "Holy shit." Yeah. And it was that moment that I knew that it was working out. Yeah. He could feel it. I was starting to make a little bit of a name for myself. People liked me, and
that's a huge reason why I wanted to have you on Game Changers, because in the industry, it's rare to find people that when you ask the teams that we work with, that no one has a bad thing to say about, that people are just like, yo. And when you talk about like, yo, Noah Shear, everyone's like, yo, he's the man. He's my guy. He's my friend. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think like, the way that you handle yourself and the stories that you're mentioning now is a true representation of like, you do everything the right way. You know what I mean? And you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if your heart is pure, I'm not perfect. I mean,
none of us are.
Many errors along the way, and I still make them. Yeah. And it's not easy what we do, man. I'm affected on a daily basis. I've told people in the past, and I'll still tell people, I wake up every morning in a panic. Yeah. Because I'm concerned about the quality of the overall feel of what we're doing. Like, are our records performing? Yeah. Did I not, uncover that opportunity? Did I not explore that opportunity? And you want your records to stay healthy and successful, and you want to achieve, chart success. And chart success, of course, is a culmination of spin success. So you need to, when you do radio promotion, like the more audience listening to your music, the better you do. It results in these sales. And so anyway, I just, to this day, like I'm affected on a regular basis, mentally and physically, based on the way our music is performing. Yeah. And I know I'm not the A&R guy, and I don't pick the music, and I don't sign the acts. But when you're tasked with trying to get a record played, it's a daunting task. So again, I'm not perfect. I made mistakes along the way, but all I can hope is that I treat people fairly, and I'm nice to people, and like and again, the whole mentality of treating people the way you want to be treated. Yeah. Who are some of the acts and the records that you've really been able to be at the forefront of pushing, that you've been very proud and very like, a culmination of like your work and then seeing their success kind of level? So again, you don't know what you're doing when these artists are coming into your market. Like the label signs these acts, and then you just deal with it, right? And you have to figure out a way to, ingratiate them into your marketplace. So back in the day, it was all, and they still do it today. That's different, but they still do it. Like we go on promo tours with these artists all the time. So, the first artist that I really got to work and like be a part of and take into that next level was DMX.
Yeah.
So we were working that Party Up record. And we got Pop Radio to play Party Up. Def Jam was always the staff that was started to try to thrust urban music onto the pop scene.
Onto the pop side,
way early, right?
Yeah.
And
because we see it today all the time now.
That's what it is. And that's what the consumption is in streaming. And anyone will tell you that hip-hop is the most sought-after consumed
music genre
of music. So we were always pushing that envelope.
Yeah.
Every record we would take. I remember trying to take a Case record to pop. Drew Hill, Cisco records to pop.
Yeah.
Jay-Z records to pop. DMX records to pop. So we would always cross records over like that was a thing that was supposed to happen. You'd start them at urban. They'd cross and get going at rhythm, and we get them to pop. And when the audience hit a certain threshold, we would then make a concerted effort to cross it. And that was just our thing. That's what we did. So all those artists I mentioned, but then 2002, I start seeing these Rockefeller, Rockefeller part of Def Jam, Rockefeller CDs with the sticker, clear CDs with the sticker on the front, and it would say produced by Kanye West.
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn, this dude is talented. After a while of getting all these Kanye West, 'cause it was either Just Blaze or Kanye West producing the Rockefeller records. That's really what it was. And I would get all, like I remember getting these CDs, these CD Pros, right, the promotional singles, and like getting a box of 30 and just like I would have to put them away. And I just remember seeing all these, and then one day like we were informed that we were gonna get an album from this Kanye West.
Kanye West, yeah.
And I got the College Dropout sent to me about 2 weeks prior to it dropping.
What a moment!
In 2002, 3.
Yeah.
I think it was 3, maybe even early 4, probably 3. Again, I'm a little fuzzy on the dates on that, but I remember listening to it and being so affected. Now, prior to that, like Kanye we would do so much promo together. Like I remember Kanye and Don C would hop on the train and I'd pick him up at the train station. We would just go from radio station to radio station to radio station. And so when I heard College Dropout, I knew at that moment that things were about to change for me and the business and the genre like it had never seen before. Like you could just feel it. And it was probably one of the best releases I had ever heard at that moment.
Oh, for musically.
Sure. I mean, rivaled up there with the Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory drops, or Midnight Marauders, or all that. But it was right there, if not better. You know what I mean? You could just feel something special was about to happen. And I remember Kanye and just doing all this promo. And I remember in 2004, I was offered an opportunity to leave the label because Leor had left and go with them over to Atlantic Records. And I decided to stay because I was weighing out the artists that I'd be able to work. Leaving Def Jam means I'm leaving Kanye West.
Which
staying at Def Jam at that time in 2004 would have then afforded me the opportunity to continue to ride along with Kanye West and work those projects because we all were in it with him from the beginning where no one knew who he was and then turning him into a household name.
And artists remember that.
Yeah, I believe they do. I believe they do for sure. As they grow and get bigger, like they meet so many people.
Of course,
you just become like a footnote in their overall tale. But I mean that was a specific moment that I remember like being a part of something massive. Like Jay-Z as well. Like don't get me wrong, like, he had already built his thing, and we crossed him over into the pop threshold, and he became even bigger. But Kanye was from the
ground level,
up. So I was gonna leave to go to Atlantic, and I remember the 2 records that I had that I was like weighing my options to, like, do I stay for loyalty? Do I stay for the money? It's not that much different. Do I stay for the contract? You know what? Let's go back to music and focus back on music.
So you would say that Kanye West is probably the reason you stayed at Def Jam at that
so
stage.
I was only there for 4 years, and I had a chance to leave, and it was either work a Brandy record that Kanye produced, or work a Kanye record. Yeah. Because at that time, Leo had taken everybody with him from Def Jam. So Atlantic was the new Def Jam.
Got you.
And then L.A. Reid came over to Def Jam in 2004, and I ended up staying because I wanted to work with Kanye West rather than anyone else. I wasn't motivated or moved by music as much as I was by Kanye West. That was at that moment probably the identifying factor in my passion for moving forward. And then after that we got Rihanna. Yeah. And then after that we got Bieber. and then after that, and in between, we broke all these, like The Dream, and just many different acts along the way. And so in 2004, I ended up getting that promotion. I ended up moving to LA. I became a national, working at rhythm only and hip hop, and Kanye was the main vehicle for that. But through that, Kanye, Rihanna, Bieber, 2 Chainz, and then the list just goes on, and YG and Big Sean. We were able to really streak some victories together.
Is it a different feeling when you find a record that you are super passionate about, and you can go in, because obviously working in the record label industry, there's these artists that get signed, the songs get put out that you have to push, that maybe you're like, okay, this isn't the one, but I have to push it as if it is, because that's your job. How's the feeling when you get a record though that you really do believe in?
Easy.
There
are people out there that will say, I can't hear shit. I just like the music business, and I like hip hop, and I'm just gonna promote it, but I don't know. I feel like there's others out there that do know. So when you believe in something, if you are one of those who feels like and you believe, then you'll be able to convince everybody.
Which I would 100% say was you with Logic.
And then fast forward to today, where
that's the crazy thing, because I remember, and I've only been working within radio for 3 years now, but I remember you from the get-go being like, this kid is gonna like change the game. This kid is it.
Well, and think about it, right? There's like a dozen, or if not more, people like me doing that with it's thousands of artists, right? And over the course of their careers. So you have to feel something special. And people might not say this out loud, but Kanye. What I saw in Kanye, I started seeing in Logic. Fan connection, creative abilities, production, skill set, intelligence. Fan connection, like a connection with the fans that I've never seen before, like that, almost Bieber-esque. When you can have not one song ever on the radio, you've only released mixtapes, and you packed out the House of Blues in LA. Like there's something going on. But then when you look under the hood and you listen to all the music, you're like, all right, I get it. It's amazing that he has this fan connection. And I don't know, it's just almost like we had the answers to the test. And so I knew that I could go super hard, because one way or the other, something was going to happen. But I also look at it as like kismet, right? Meant to be type shit. He's from Gaithersburg, Maryland. He went to the same elementary school that I went to.
Wow.
I happen to work at Def Jam. He gets signed to the label in 2012. I meet him in 2013. We find out that that shit doesn't happen.
There's too many coincidences that could not have happened.
I don't understand how that happened, and and so as soon as that transpired, I'm like, wow. I'm in this game for a reason. We're gonna break this kid. There's too much similarities to my life and his life, to the point where we have a lot of things in common. And his music is insane, and his skill set is incredible. And I just knew at that moment that it was like that. This kid, we were gonna break this kid. I didn't know how. I didn't know what was gonna happen or transpire or when. But when it did, it was gonna manifest itself, and everyone was gonna feel it.
There's the conversation going on right now and Justin Credible and I had it the other night, is that we think that Logic could be the artist that's putting out the most culturally important music of our time right now.
I'm not one to disagree with you. I mean, Kendrick did. Kendrick just won a Pulitzer
Prize.
Right. Like
he performed last night. It said Pulitzer Kenny on the back of his on the stage.
I love it. Like that. So that right. YG in his own way does that kind of culturally relevant. Speaking on what. But Logic is hitting issues that are so culturally conscious on a global scale, that are not so regionalized, and Kendrick was able to do what he did, and obviously, and there's so many others, that J. Cole and whatever. But like you're right, Kanye, Logic and Kanye as well doing culturally conscious shit. But Logic is right there, and no, we are fortunate now that like this game has evolved to where it's any race, color, or creed, or ethnicity can make it. It started from one space, but has spread to a point where now it's a colorless type of scenario. Anyone can do it. Anyone can be successful at it. You guys at Power 106 play artists of all genres, races, creeds, religions, ethnicities.
Of course, yeah.
And but the hip hop is the glue, and some of it's incredible, and it resonates, and it doesn't have to be, only one type of artist making it. It's now, and Logic's one of them.
Yeah.
And when you see his live performance, man, I'm very excited. I know tomorrow is Powerhouse. I know for a fact that one, he drove the majority of the ticket sales for the event.
Yeah.
He just so everyone's clear, Powerhouse has sold 15,000 tickets.
Yeah.
He has a show at the Forum that is sold out. Coming up.
Yeah.
He's got a show in Irvine that is pretty much sold out.
Yeah.
He's got a show in San Diego that is 75% sold out. And he's doing amphitheaters. These are over 10,000 tickets sold at every venue.
I know, we went and saw him at the Greek. You got us tickets to come with him in the Greek, and I didn't understand his movement until I went to the Greek with you, and I was blown away at the connection with the audience and how well people consumed his music. I was like, wow, this kid is doing something special. And that was the moment for me where I was like, okay, I believe what Noah's been telling me for the last year or two.
Yeah, and again, I tell people like I had the answers to the test because I saw that thing on a smaller scale at the clubs.
Yeah.
And then knew that with his focus and passion, when you would sit and talk to Logic, you just knew that this kid wasn't just in it because he thought it would be a fun thing to do.
Nah.
He knew that this is what was going to feed his family and make him happy and like get him into a space of a successful mindset and career, and and when you see a guy like that giving it his all, you have no choice but to believe. And if A, B, C, and D are all connecting, then forget about it. It's an easy one. But I bring up the fact that he has 4 shows that he sold out. Yeah, pretty much in the Los Angeles area down to San Diego. It's still like there's not a lot of artists that can do. They would be like, no, I can't do Irvine because I have a Forum. Yeah. Exactly. Do Irvine, I'm gonna. You're gonna steal sales from your Forum show. I'm gonna cannibalize my sales, so I won't be able to get a sellout. Yeah. And then on top of that, management might be like, yeah, I can't do the radio show because I have a Forum and an Irvine show. Yeah. I don't want to. Right. Yeah. Management's like, we got this. Yeah. You got 15,000. You're pretty much a sellout at Powerhouse. Yeah. You're a sellout at the Forum. Yeah. You're a sellout at Irvine. Yeah. And you're practically a sellout at San Diego. Yeah. And like, this is what Logic is. Yeah. It's just when you know that exists, you have no problems going and giving it your all for the kid. And his music is fucking fresh, and he can rap his ass off. Oh, crazy! You think that rappers and artists in general really put as much importance on radio as it used to be these days? Young kids don't really know or care. Yeah. Because they start to make money and revenues based on their streaming and their tours and their sales because they can do it all online. Yeah. But radio is such an important asset because it enhances and it fans flames and brings to light on a grander scale what's going on. If you just rely on streaming only, you don't pick and choose songs to work the radio, then you will have a shorter shelf life. You will come out, you will pop, but if you don't pick something and go to radio and enhance it, then you're going to end up with just a shorter runway of success. So you do need radio to become that extra promotional vehicle for your music. Yeah. I almost feel like it's almost became cool to hate on radio to an extent for younger artists, but then once they get played on the radio, then all of a sudden it's like they're excited about it again. And I don't know where it comes from, and I think it is the fact that these kids can make so much money and the game has changed. And like you must have seen it firsthand, the change from illegal streamings and illegal downloads, and the fact that people weren't buying CDs anymore and records, and then all of a sudden it was like, how do we figure out this industry so that our artists can make money? Like, how was that time? It was depressing, man, because we used to see the revenue streams shrink because of all the illegal activities out there. And I would single every year there was layoffs, like just every year people getting let go, and like it was tough, man. Yeah. And it happened it was like a decade, man, a straight decade of downturn and despair. You know? But everyone kept it positive, and if you could break a couple artists a year and you can get some shit cracking, like, you were cool. But but like there was overhead that was trimmed. Yeah. And thank goodness that there are people out there that are always trying to look for the next thing.
Because at that time, it didn't look like there was anything.
Well, because let's be honest, for me, I would always sit back and I would always say, just dating it back to when I could understand what the 8-track was.
Yeah.
And trying to, because I'll be honest, like when you're a kid or whatever, like I wasn't reading up on the magazines to see what was coming next.
Yeah.
I wasn't like trying to sniff out what the next medium was, technology-wise. So like, I was like, 8-track, what's next?
Yeah.
Cassette. I'm like, what's going to be coming after cassette? I wonder if I could guess it.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
CD came.
Yeah.
And it's like after CD, it's like, man, what's going to come next after that?
Yeah.
Digital files.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, man, digital files. All right, well, what comes next?
What comes after digital files?
Right. And I'm like, and so thank goodness there's a crew of people in the record business that are on the cusp of that.
Yeah.
And were able to see the future in what Spotify was doing, and what streaming was going to become.
Yeah.
And even before Spotify, but
Yeah.
still, like just watching and seeing what that whole thing was going to be about, and embracing it, investing in it, and like giving that a shot. And if it wasn't for these streaming services, we wouldn't be where we are today. The record business literally turned around. It's been over the last now 2.5, 3 years.
Crazy.
That the revenue streams are coming up. The physical product is going down. Now the physical product is only being utilized when you're doing something specific to like an artist and a collector's edition item, like we'll do like direct to consumer sales, like a special with the vinyl pack,
with a T-shirt signed,
and you get the tickets to the show, in the VIP section, or a lyric sheet signed by the artist or whatever that is. Like now that's when your physical product comes into play. The physical product doesn't need to be a thing anymore because it's all digital, but the streaming model has really helped us. But yes, for a decade it was tough. We all dealt with it. You just kept your head down and did what you did and hoped for the best. But now, man, now that there's a streaming mindset and there's an independent mindset, you have so many people doing this job and trying to be artists and trying to get out there on the scene that it's become inundated with music,
for sure,
choices.
And people
artists.
And people they consume music differently now. It's like so fast paced, and an album comes out and people listen to it for a week and then they move on. Before you had an album that you listened to for 3-4 months, and that's where I think the separation between the great artists lie these days. It's an album that you can sit with, like Bobby Tarantino 2, and people are sitting with it for months after, or Kanye puts out an album, or I sat with St. John's new album and I will sit with that for 3 or 4 weeks. Like that's the disconnect I feel between the artists that are gonna make it and artists that are gonna make a little bit of money.
It's tough out there now, man. It's like there's just so many choices, and it's like how do you connect and how do you resonate? And that's kind of where we're at. So the onus is really on the artist a lot, because the artist needs to believe in what they're doing, and be able to have a vision, and see it all the way through. And just because they signed to a record label, I think now the artists are a lot smarter than they once were, right? Where they relied on the label, and then once they got the label deal, they're like, "Oh, we're cool.
Sign. Don't read the writing.
Right, we're good." And they got fucked, or they relied on the label too much, and they weren't like an artist who has a great manager and a great like a Chance the Rapper situation where he never had his label and he was able to do what he did, or even Ludacris was able to develop on his own, and then got signed, but he developed it on his own first. Like that is the way. Like you need a manager and an artist and a team around you that believes that it's not we're not going to make it unless we do it ourselves. And when we sign to a label, that's an enhancement to what we are.
And it's on your terms.
Sure, on your
same
terms
as Nipsey Hussle just did, same as Macklemore did.
He's been independent for a very long time. Developed his whole thing, signed, and critical acclaim. But he did it that way. And you need to be an artist. Like that's what Logic was. Logic did it on his own, believed in his craft, had a whole vision for what he was going to do, had ideas, worked with producers like this guy Six, who's incredible, who was able to help craft his sound.
Yeah.
But Logic's whole mentality is label or no label. This is what I do.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where we're at these days. And so for an artist to stand out, you're going to definitely need to have a team around you that believes, and you yourself as the artist have to truly believe in your craft. And then you got to build a fan base.
Yeah.
And
that's the big one.
The label can help you, but a lot of that is gonna stem from how you create your own shit.
Your story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you, now being, working as the, the EVP, what do you tell someone that wants to get into the record label business that they need to be doing, or the mentality behind it that you would have told Noah Shear back living in Long Island trying to get into the record label business?
You gotta be really sure, 100% positive that that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
One, you can't have any second thoughts. So you have to plunge into the deep end.
Yeah.
And just start swimming. So that's one thing that you have to be prepared to do.
Yeah.
You got to be prepared to have sleepless nights. Lack of sleep for sure, because you're up traveling and out. You got to be prepared and willing to do whatever it takes at that moment to make it in.
Yeah.
You have to be available. Half the job is showing up. You gotta continuously be around events, because again, it goes back to like vibrations and energy, right? So if something is happening and you're at that thing that's happening, like other people who are like-minded are going to be at that thing that's happening.
Of course.
So it's important to show up to things and be at things and try to be a part of all that. And it's important to kind of identify, if you can, what you're good at, and what your best skill set is.
Yeah.
And then it takes a minute. Like, I didn't realize what I really was necessarily that great at until I was in my 30s. I just knew that I had a passion for music, and I would do whatever it takes to make it.
Which is the start.
And then, when you get in your 30s, and once you've already kind of gotten your foot in the door and you're moving, then you can realize what you're good at within that sector. And that's what I was able to identify in my 30s, that I had an ability to like identify the artists that I personally loved, and if I personally loved them, there's probably a good chance that the masses would also love them. And then I just believed in myself. Yeah. And now it's a lot more challenging.
Yeah.
You might believe,
of course,
you might believe in something wholeheartedly, and it's just not going to happen.
It's not going to work.
Because,
it's competition.
There's like a dozen factors.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother episode on why a song does or does not work.
Yeah.
Which you'll have to have me back.
We'll have to have it back. Volume 2.
Yeah.
Noah Shear, man. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for
and honestly, it's definitely going to help, people and looking for inspiration and looking for guidance. Your story is amazing, and you're going to keep doing great things, and I can't wait to see you fucking with your own label soon.
We'll see, bro. So whatever the stars are aligned to do, man.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate it. Thank you.